guys, today we are sitting down and discussing how to start a jewellery small business. So I get asked this on pretty much a daily occurrence at this point, so I thought, right, it's time to just sit down and do a video on how I started my small business and things I have learned that I can give advice to you on how you need to start a small business. Now, I will just preface, I didn't have a loan, I didn't have a big amount of money, honestly probably about £50, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't start my business knowing that it was going to be as big as it is today, and I didn't start my business for money. I sort of did it as a hobby during lockdown, and it just turned into my full-time job, which I am extremely grateful for and so proud that I've been able to get it this far, and I've learned a lot along the way. So I want to try and give you as much advice as possible in this video. So if you're looking to start a small business or you've just started, these are some steps that you need to take in order to start your business. If you want to start a jewellery business, you need to sort of think about what jewellery you want to make. So there are loads of different jewelry styles. You can do earrings, you can do necklaces, bracelets, there's bead bracelets, there's so many different things. So if you are doing earrings, for example, like my business, you then need to niche it down even more. Are you going to be making them out of clay? Are you going to be making them out of resin, glass? Are you going to be getting charms and creating jewelry that way? Are you going to be doing handmade jewelry, or are you going to be outsourcing jewelry from manufacturers and doing a business that way? There's lots of different ways you can do a jewelry business. It just depends on what you would prefer. I do polymer clay. Now there's air dry clay, there's soft clay, there's so many different styles of clay, so you can break it down into each section until you get exactly what you want to make. Now when I started, I already knew I wanted to make polymer clay jewelry, and I make lots of different things out of polymer clay now, but I originally started with just earrings, and that's my staple to my business is earrings. But I have accessories alongside that. I've recently started making clay trinket dishes. I make earrings, magnets, hair clips, pins, key rings, the list goes on. You can make so many different things with that. And it's the same with resin and anything else. So I would start with one staple item that you want your business to sort of work around. I find that the best, because then when I do launches, it's earring launch and then some other things on the side. So the next step, once you figure out what business you want to do, is doing the research. Now I spent hours upon hours on YouTube. I was obsessed with it. I could not get enough of researching it and learning stuff about it, and I still do that to this day, but also get to create my own videos for you guys so that it's somewhere that you can go and learn about polymer clay jewelry or just businesses in general. Now you can just do your research on YouTube. That's how I've done it. I'm completely self-taught. I just learn on YouTube and through trial and error. I think that's the best organic way. You figure out how you want to run your business your way, and you research what you want to research, and it's not set in stone what you must do, what you mustn't do. You just do what you want and you enjoy the process. But you can also do courses in whatever sort of subject you want to do, purchase guides, things like that. So there's lots of different ways around it, but I personally just did it through YouTube. Look at lots of different creators, lots of different videos, so that you can get a real idea of what is best for you. You don't need to do exactly what I say. If I do a video on tips on polymer clay and how to use it, doesn't mean you need to do it the way I do it. I would look at lots of different creators and then figure out yourself how you want to do it. Kind of like a recipe. For me, if I'm gonna make something for dinner, I look on TikTok a lot for recipes. I won't just look at one, I'll look at 3 or 4 and then merge them all into how I want to create it, if that makes sense. You also want to figure out your niche. So what is your audience going to look like? For me, I would say my age range is quite wide. I've got anything from children to older ladies wearing my jewelry, so that isn't necessarily much of a niche, but my jewelry does not necessarily go to the clean girl aesthetic, for example, because mine are very colourful, big, bright, and a lot of people don't like that sort of jewelry, which I completely understand, but it makes it even more exciting when I find my people that do enjoy it. I love to wear it. I've got some strawberry cow earrings right now. I'm sure a lot of people would hate to wear something like that, but then there are people out there that can't get enough of stuff like that. So find your niche, what you're going to do. You could do a jewelry business all based on sea life, and it could be shells and beach sort of vibes, and it could be very blue and white, but then you could do a gothic approach and have it all black and white and very gothic and like red and deeper colors and have that sort of vibe. You could go down a cottagecore sort of vibe where you're doing a lot of lace and lots of like cutesy gingham style and stuff. There's like 100 different ways you can do your business. My branding originally was actually all pink, and then I decided to change it to colourful because I realised that was more me. And as you can see, my room is very bright and colourful. What I wear is very bright and colourful, and I like my earrings to match that. I feel like it just makes you happy. It gives you a good vibe, and also I find a lot of my customers get a lot more compliments than if they were just wearing a gold hoop from Primark, because you don't see these everywhere. They don't exist anywhere. I make them so niche that you can't get strawberry cow earrings everywhere. You're not going to nip to Primark and find them. So that's what I like about mine. You'll get a lot more compliments in wearing them because they're so different and people haven't seen them before. You can also study your competitors. So look at their social media, look at... There's a butterfly. Oh, I love that. I should have opened the window and invited them in. You can study your competitors, so look at their branding, look at their pricing. When I very first started my business, I looked at lots of different people that do polymer clay earrings, looked at their pricing, look at their websites, look at their branding, how they portray themselves, and I didn't find many people that do colourful, quirky earrings like mine, which is what made me want to do it more. I did the complete opposite to looking at their stuff and copying it. I actually did the opposite and thought, what can I find? And it was my brand, for example. But also I looked at people's pricing, I looked at their quality, and I lowered my pricing because I thought mine aren't that quality at the very beginning. So people were selling their earrings for £15, for example. I sold mine for about £7 because I thought mine are definitely not near that price range yet. But it gets you gauging how much you really want to price your products. Then my prices have just upped and upped through the years of the quality getting better. Then you want to create some sort of business plan. Now, you don't need to do a full professional plan. I did do that because I went through Prince's Trust briefly and they helped me with a business plan, but you don't need to do that. But you can just write down and do a bit of research on what your morals are, what your vision is, what your values are. You can then plan your startup cost, how much is actually going to be to start up your business. It can vary completely depending on what type of business you're going to be doing. And also what sales channel you're going to use. Are you going to use Etsy, a website? Are you going to have a physical shop? Are you going to just do market stalls? For example, my vision and my values are just great customer service. And as I say, I want to portray positive, colourful, like that bright feeling, you know, and I want you to be able to put in your earrings and feel that way as well. Feel more confident in what you're wearing. You can be whatever size you want because earrings fit everyone, and I feel like that is such a good mindset to have when you're running your business. You want to portray something good and happy and positive. Now, the startup cost for my business, I cannot remember. It was 4.5 years ago, but I know I didn't have a lot of money. I was working full time. I was earning about £18,500 at the time a year. So I wasn't getting a great deal of money. I then went on to another full-time job where I was earning quite a bit more than that, but I was working full-time alongside my small business for about 3 years before I started doing my business full-time. So when I first started, it was during lockdown. I had a lot of time on my hands so I could research, and I just bought things as and when I needed them. I got little starter packs on Amazon, which I would highly recommend as well. If you're using polymer clay, I've already said it in another video, do not get the polymer clay from Amazon. Get Fimo clay or Sculpey clay. Invest in the good one. They're only like £3.50 per pack, so they're not super expensive. You can get Fimo packs with lots of different colours if you want to just try that out at first, but don't get the cheap clay on Amazon, please. And I would probably say that for resin and stuff as well. The cheap stuff isn't always the better stuff, but with tools and stuff you can pretty much get the cheapest stuff to start with. I have a pasta machine now, which is here for my clay, but before that I didn't have one. I just used a rolling pin until I could afford one. So you can build yourself up. You don't need to get the best stuff straight away. But if you've got a lot of money to start with, maybe just invest in whatever's best for you. But for me, I didn't have a lot of money to start. I really was starting my business on a budget, and so I just got stuff as and when I needed it, and I didn't rush into creating a business. I got bits as and when. I made it into a hobby, and then I progressed into a business. It's just a better, more organic way of doing it rather than just thinking of the money, because it's not going to come straight away. So don't rush into it, take your time and just do it properly. Now, once you have actually decided you're going to start up a business, you need to register your business online. I would highly recommend doing this. You have to do it as a business, and that means you do need to do tax returns. But if you earn a certain amount a year, you don't need to pay tax on it. I think it's around £12,500 that you can earn a year before paying any tax. But if you register your business, you do still need to do tax returns, but you can just zero them and say that you don't earn enough to pay tax. But you still need to put through a tax return to let them know your situation. Also, check your domain. So for me, my domain is charings.com. If you don't know what a domain is, it's basically your web address that people search to find your website. So if you are creating your own website, you need to make sure that it's not taken what you want, and you do need to pay for it. So mine is charings.com. I thought it was the easiest way people can find me. All they need to do is type in Charings on Google and they'll find me. So if you've gone down the route of having a handmade business, so you want to make handmade jewelry, you need to then look into the tools and materials of how much that's going to be for your startup cost. Whereas if you're going down the outsourcing route and you want to order some charms and make jewelry that way, then you want to find a good manufacturer that's going to work for you. Do the research into the best one that you can find with the best prices, the best quality items, so that they don't tarnish quickly and you've got good quality items to sell to your customers. Again, for your startup costs, you need to figure out how much that's going to be, how many charms you want to buy, how much material you want to get to start with. Then you want to look at brand identity, your logo, your packaging, your colors of your business. These are really important things that I think I didn't notice were as important as they actually are, because once you do your logo and your branding, you kind of don't want to change that. Really, I've changed it once near the beginning of my business, about a year in, and I don't really want to change that again. Sometimes I do think I could do a different logo, different branding, but I've just embraced what I have and I really love what I've got now, and I've elevated it to something that I really enjoy. Well, I don't actually know any beach vibe businesses, but I'm going to use that example because it just come into my head just now. And sometimes I wish I had that vibe because I live near the sea, and I think that would be such like a nice aesthetic brand to have. So it is an idea if you're wanting to create a small business and you don't know what to go for. That is a good idea, and I've not seen any business do that. I'm sure there are some out there. But if we say that, for example, you want to figure out your logo. I created mine myself on Canva, but you can also pay a graphic designer to create it for you, which might be worth it if you're starting up and you want good quality to begin with. But you can always make your own. It can be quite simple. It doesn't need to be completely extravagant. You want to create a logo, and then you want your colors on your logo and your fonts to kind of resemble your business. So try and maintain that throughout your business. Colors that attract people. Don't do like every color under the sun, because it feels messy in my opinion, unless you're going for that sort of vibe. Mine is colourful, but in my branding I've got 4 main colours that I use, which is pink, yellow, blue and green. So I try and keep most of my branding and advertisements and anything like that to them colours. A good thing about Canva as well is that you can actually create a branding section so that you can put your colours in there and it will stay on there, and the same with like your logo and stuff, so that when you're creating stuff on Canva you can always go to your branding and just make it them colours. And it's really easy to do. And with packaging, I would recommend getting packaging that resembles your business as well. So at the beginning when it was a pink business, I had pink packaging, pink tissue paper to match, and now I've got colourful pastel packaging to match my brand. I also do it seasonal as well, so if it's coming up to Halloween, I'll do black and orange packaging and try and match the seasons, but it is a bit more costly. So if you want to keep the cost-effective approach, just keep your branding to as simple as it can be. You can get tissue paper and stuff online for pretty affordable prices. Again, on Amazon, I would have a little look and see what you want to go for. You don't need to add freebies. It is a nice little touch for your customers, but don't do it at the beginning if you can't afford it. That's just an extra if you can afford it, but you don't need to give people free stuff. Also, at the very beginning of your business, don't worry too much on packaging and getting the best quality packaging. At the end of the day, people are buying your product for the product, not the packaging. And lastly, just look at how you want to promote your business. Is it on social media? Is it through a marketing platform like Etsy where they drive the traffic for you? Are you going to pay for marketing fees? Are you going to do collaborations? Or you can do a mailing list. So there's lots of different things that you can do to promote your business. I personally use a free source, which is the internet. So social media. You can then look at what social media platforms you want to use. Do you want to use Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube? There's so many different ones. So figure out what ones you want to use and be consistent on them. I'm going to do a whole other video. It might be up or it'll be coming soon. I'm going to be doing a whole video on social media for small businesses, so keep an eye out for that, or maybe I'll tag it if it's already up. But that'll be much more helpful on where to post, what to post, when to post, etc. With influencer collaborations, If I'm being honest with you, I wouldn't recommend it. No, I wouldn't recommend it. I did a lot of it at the beginning with micro influencers, so people that don't have many followings, and I just did that so that I can get product pictures with them. I sent them a free item in exchange for a picture of them in the earrings, and then I could use it on my social media. I enjoyed doing that because I like to see other people in my earrings besides myself all the time. I didn't have the funds to pay influencers, and I didn't have the funds to hire out models to model my jewelry, so that was the only way I could sort of get people to wear my jewelry and use their photos for my social media. So that is something that you can do when you start up if you want pictures of people in your earrings. I wouldn't necessarily do that for sales because majority of the time that doesn't translate into sales. I've worked with influencers that have got millions of followers and I still have received 0 orders from their post. So I personally wouldn't recommend going down that route. But if you want to try it, it's a risk. I have one influencer that I send stuff to and I get quite a lot of sales every single time they promote me, even if it's on their story. So it completely depends how many followers they have and if they decide to post you or not. It's also a risk because you could send them a free item and they could not post it, especially if you're doing it for free. Don't expect anything back. If they've got loads of followers, it's their choice in the end of the day. And a mailing list. I personally don't see a big reflection of sales through my mailing list, and I've got 1,800 people on there at the moment, and sometimes I could get no sales from sending out a email. But then other times you could get loads of sales. It completely depends. I would base it off your own personal opinion and do that as more of a trial and error. Set up a mailing list. If you've got a website, it's really easy to do. You can just set up a subscription sort of tab on your website where you can just say subscribe for emails, newsletters, stuff like that, and then they'll put in their email and it's as simple as that, and then you can do some email marketing. On my website, for example, I use Wix and it does charge you for that if you want to send to more people. So as your mailing list grows, it will charge you more and more to send out emails. So I think I pay about £30 a month to be able to send a certain amount of email. I think it's like 10,000 emails a month, something like that. But as I send it to 1,800, that gives me a month about 4 or 5 emails that I can send out. But that's all the information I've got today. I really hope this helps, and good luck with your small business if you're starting up. Let me know in the comments, are you starting up? Have you already got a business? Let me know if you've got any extra tips that can help other small businesses in the comments, so make sure you check down below, and hopefully there are some people giving out some advice or their opinions on it. Please do also follow my TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. They're all linked in my description down below, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye!